Kenneth Williams, one of Britain's most iconic and beloved comic actors, was a man of extraordinary talent, sharp wit, and unparalleled charisma. Known for his work in the Carry On films, Williams left an indelible mark on British comedy, yet his public persona belied a life filled with inner turmoil, loneliness, and a profound sense of unfulfillment. As we delve into the life of this enigmatic figure, we uncover the layers of complexity that defined his existence, leading to a tragic end that shocked the world. Kenneth Charles Williams was born on February 22, 1926, in a modest house in King's Cross, London. The son of Charles Charlie Williams, a barber, and Louisa Lou Williams, a formidable yet loving mother, Kenneth's early years were shaped by the contrasting influences of his parents. His father was a man of traditional values, who frowned upon Kenneth's early fascination with the arts. Lou, on the other hand, recognized her son's unique talents and nurtured his love for performance. From a young age, Kenneth exhibited a flair for mimicry and a sharp, observant eye that would later become the hallmark of his comedic style. He entertained his family and friends with impersonations of people he encountered, capturing their voices and mannerisms with uncanny accuracy. Yet, despite his evident talent, the Williams household was not a place where dreams of the stage were encouraged. The outbreak of World War II marked a significant turning point in Kenneth's life. At the age of 18, he was conscripted into the British Army, where he served in the Royal Engineers. It was during these years that Kenneth first experienced the thrill of performing before an audience, as he took part in amateur theatrical productions put on for the troops. The stage became his refuge, a place where he could escape the harsh realities of war and the constraints of his upbringing. After the war, Kenneth pursued his passion for acting by enrolling at the prestigious Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA. His time at RADA was marked by both rigorous training and a growing realization that his true talent lay not in the serious roles of classical theater but in the art of comedy. With his distinctive voice, expressive face, and impeccable timing, Kenneth Williams was born to make people laugh. Kenneth Williams' early career was a mix of highs and lows. After graduating from RADA, he worked in repertory theater, honing his craft and building a reputation as a versatile performer. His big break came in the early 1950s when he joined the cast of the BBC radio comedy show Hancock's Half Hour. Here, he formed a close bond with comedian Tony Hancock, and their on-air chemistry captivated audiences. Williams' ability to create a multitude of characters, each with its own distinct voice, made him an invaluable asset to the show and a rising star in the world of British comedy. It was in 1958, however, that Kenneth Williams found the role that would define his career, Carry On Sergeant, the first in what would become the legendary Carry On film series. The film's success was unprecedented, and it led to a string of sequels that would cement Williams' place in the pantheon of British comedy. The Carry On films were a unique blend of slapstick, farce, and innuendo, with ensemble casts that became as familiar to audiences as family members. Williams' roles in these films were often that of the pompous, fussy, and sexually ambiguous characters, such as the famously neurotic Julius Caesar in Carry On Cleo, 1964, or the over-the-top Dr. Orlando Watt in Carry On Again Doctor, 1969. His exaggerated expressions, impeccable delivery, and ability to elevate even the most ridiculous of lines to comedic gold made him a fan favorite. Yet, despite the widespread popularity of the Carry On films, Williams harbored deep ambivalence about his association with them. While the series provided him with financial stability and fame, he often expressed frustration at the typecasting that came with it. To Kenneth, the lowbrow humor and repetitive nature of the films felt limiting, and he longed for more challenging roles that could showcase his range as an actor. Kenneth Williams was a man of contrasts, a performer who thrived in the spotlight but suffered in the shadows. His public persona was that of a flamboyant, quick-witted entertainer, but behind the scenes, he was deeply introspective and often plagued by feelings of inadequacy and loneliness. Williams was known to be fiercely intelligent, with a voracious appetite for literature, history, and the arts. His private diaries, which he meticulously kept from the age of 14 until his death, reveal a man who was constantly wrestling with his inner demons. These diaries, published posthumously, offer an unfiltered look into the mind of Kenneth Williams, a man who was both brilliant and troubled. One of the most significant sources of Williams' inner turmoil was his struggle with his sexuality. In an era when homosexuality was illegal in Britain and socially stigmatized, Williams was forced to keep his true self hidden. His diaries are filled with references to his conflicted feelings about his sexual orientation, his fears of public exposure, and his inability to find lasting happiness in relationships. Despite close friendships with men and women, Williams remained single throughout his life, often lamenting his loneliness and the lack of deep, intimate connections. His relationship with his mother, Lou, was another complex aspect of his life. The two were extremely close, with Williams referring to her as "my rock." After his father's death in 1962, Kenneth and Lou lived together, and she became the center of his world. However, this closeness also contributed to his sense of isolation, as he became increasingly dependent on her for emotional support. As Kenneth Williams' fame grew, so did his dissatisfaction. He continued to work in television, radio, and theater, but the shadow of the Carry-On films loomed large over his career. While he was grateful for the opportunities the films provided, he resented being pigeonholed as a comic actor who was only capable of playing outlandish, over-the-top characters. This sense of being trapped in a particular image was exacerbated by Williams' health problems. He suffered from a variety of ailments, including severe stomach pains and digestive issues, which doctors were unable to diagnose conclusively. These health problems, combined with his ongoing battle with depression, contributed to his growing sense of despair and isolation. In his later years, Williams became increasingly reclusive, retreating from public life and limiting his social interactions. He continued to write in his diaries, often expressing his disillusionment with life, his fear of aging, and his longing for a more meaningful existence. His diaries from this period are filled with dark humor and a sense of resignation, as he grappled with the realities of his declining health and the loneliness that had become a constant companion. Despite his inner struggles, Williams maintained a professional facade, continuing to entertain audiences with his sharp wit and unique comedic style. He remained a regular on the British television and radio circuit, with appearances on shows like Just a Minute and Parkinson. However, those close to him noticed a change, a growing weariness that seemed to reflect the toll that years of internal conflict had taken on him. On April 15, 1988, Kenneth Williams was found dead in his flat in London. He was 62 years old. The official cause of death was an overdose of barbiturates, a medication he had been prescribed to manage his chronic pain. However, the circumstances surrounding his death have been the subject of much speculation and debate. In the days leading up to his death, Williams' diary entries became increasingly bleak. On the morning of his death, he wrote the cryptic words, "Oh, what's the bloody point?" A statement that has fueled speculation that he may have taken his own life. Some who knew him believe that his death was an accident, a tragic miscalculation of the dosage of his medication. Others, however, contend that Williams, exhausted by years of pain and depression, may have chosen to end his life. The truth of what happened that fateful night remains unknown, and it is likely that we will never have a definitive answer. What is clear, however, is that Kenneth Williams' death marked the end of a life that was as complicated and multifaceted as the characters he portrayed on screen. The news of his passing sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and among his many fans. Tributes poured in from fellow actors, comedians, and the public, all of whom remembered Williams as a singular talent who had brought joy and laughter to millions. Yet for those who knew him well, his death was a poignant reminder of the struggles he had faced and the personal demons he had battled throughout his life.